right, guys, we are back with another video. Welcome, and let's get into things. Before we start things off, I quickly want to remind you of my services over on Metafy. I have guides ready for Eternal Weekend Europe. I have Isildur Cutter, Dimir Tempo, Dimir Animator. Don't sleep on that one. Of course, we have all the guest primers. Some of these will be more relevant than others because of the Entomb and Nadu ban, but look at all of these experts. What a treat. And then, of course, I have my vintage guides over there alongside my normal strategy articles. So that if that's anything for you, I hope to see you over there. And now let's get into the actual video. All right, let's play some more Legacy. I have a little bit of an experimental brew here. Maybe that's overdoing it a little bit. I've tried to work with Katara Waterbending Master, and this card is a little weird when it comes to deck building, right? So this kind of reads Psychic Frog, Tameo, Dreadheart Arcanist style of card, but it does require some work. It's legendary. You only get the counters on your opponent's turn, but then there's the fact that you keep the counters, so if the first one dies, with already having a counter or two, the next one will be better. So lots of stuff to consider. Consider is in the deck as a bad ponder. This is my only, let's say, concession to Katara. I'm trying out a slightly worse cantrip. Also, this fuels Murktide Regent slightly better. Murktide Regent is a card you have to lean hard on, I think, to capitalize on the hopefully card advantage. Because I'm playing slightly worse cantrips and I'm playing a little bit more mana intensive, creature setup, I am down to 3 wastelands. I have the 4th one in the board. I'm prioritizing casting my spells a little bit more. Essentially, this deck is good if resources matter, and if we can try and make it so that resources matter by making sure to buy time into the mid game. So we do that with, the classic Days, Forces, Thought Seizes, Pushes, and then the sweet one, Snuff Out. Snuff Out is one of my motivations to play Katara. I think at the same time, Black offers Bowmasters, and Bowmasters is one of the best cards against Katara, so I think it makes sense like that. So essentially, I want to build my advantage, and I want to close the game with Murktide Regent. That's kind of the name of the game. Main deck negations are not perfect, but with a Katara in play, they at least become serviceable a lot more often. Brazen Borrower. The card has flash, it's flexible, it's blue, what's not to like? Sideboard, very standard stuff from my side here. We have Consignants and Hydros, we have Baragoyfs, we have removal spells, we have Graveyard Hate, we have a little bit of Chalice coverage, and then the Wasteland. And then one of my favorite aces up the sleeve these days, Mystical Dispute. I think with a lot of Murktide Mirror, Show and Tell matchups, stock up, getting cast, etc. I think that card is super serviceable right now. So yeah, let's see if this Dimir Katara Tempo deck can do anything in a few matches. Okay, let's play some Magic the Gathering. I'm on the play here. This one lander is not what I want to see. So now I have a few options. I think Land Pass is going to be my move. And then casting Consider end of turn with the info about what the opponent is on. Let's say I brick on the Consider land-wise. Then I think I brainstorm on my turn. Yeah. Okay, so I'm seeing a lot of cards deep. I'm hoping to play against a Force of Will deck. Sorry, Force of Will deck. Well, yeah, I guess you could call it that. I'm hoping to play against the deck that is weak to Force of Will. The opponent on the mulligan to 6, so even better if they're weak to Force of Will. Let's see what this is. I do have my Fatal Push if Tameo hits the board. Here's the Thoughtseize. I don't think that's a problem. You are allowed to look at this hand. So the opponent... I guess we learn a lot about our opponent's deck here. Taking a Brainstorm out of my hand. So my opponent's not a creature deck. Right? Yeah, my opponent's not a creature deck. So I think it's okay to go Underground Sea here. If they're not a creature deck, they might not be a Wasteland deck. It's a tough one. Let me put it that way. Get rid of that one. Let's see if we can find a land. That would be awesome. No land. Oh, wow. There's a Brainstorm, and we get Dazed. I am willing to accept that. All right. So we missed our land drop out of the gates here. Not ideal. The opponent is back with their land. 5 cards versus 5 cards. My Bowmaster is not a blue card, so something like Dark Ritual Doomsday with backup is very strong against me. Land lets me slam a creature. So, guess I should upkeep this Bowmasters. Here's my Orcish Bowmasters. Right now, I would guess my opponent's Doomsday with the way they ignored the push in my hand with double Brainstorm Consider. Here's Brainstorm in response, well played by the opponent. They kind of sniffed out the Bowmasters. That's the thing, right? It's been a long time since anybody caught a Brainstorm with Bowmasters. Not sure the opponent wanted to pass the turn there, but they did. I guess let's Wasteland, attack. Love to draw the random blue Pokemon card here, so I have double force. That is... My opponent, yeah. My opponent got Brainstorm locked, I think. Yeah. Here's Flooded Strand. I think I should just try and step on the gas here, to be honest. Let's slam Murktide Regent. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm removing the Bowmasters to hedge a little bit against the opponent running the card Reanimate, which I'm not sure I should think about, but I am. So let's see what this is. Is this... No, is this discarding Atraxa? It's discarding Thoughtseize. So essentially my opponent's just trying to learn more. Attack for 8. Pass. Okay, so what did my opponent learn here? They learned that we play Consider in our blue-black tempo deck. And I didn't learn much of anything, aside from the fact they didn't take the Fatal Push. They did not take the Fatal Push. What am I supposed to do about that? I think Snuff Out is probably quite bad against my opponent. Should I bring in a little bit of hard removal? Do I keep in 1 push? Let's see, what could that be? They didn't show me anything other than ignoring the Fatal Push. Something like the Swamp, probably cuttable here. I Swamp my worst land, it very well could be. And then... am I playing against Reanimator? What if I add 2 Surgicals here? So I have 2 hard removals for something like Baragoyf. Yeah, we can try this. I'm okay taking a little bit of a gamble here. Could be reading too much into that non-pick of the Fatal Push. All right. This hand looks good. I will bottom the Wasteland and try and get things underway here. So this hand is just very bad against somebody who's, you know, super focused with their game plan, right? But if they stumble just a little bit, I have a lot of engine cards here. Question is if I want to go basics here. The opponent kept those cards. I drew Island. Okay, so I guess Island Tamiyo is a good play. No Daze, no Force, no Thoughtseize. This could be a little bit scary. Okay. The opponent Daze is here. Turn 1, I think that's totally fine. I mean, if they have Ritual Doomsday, I don't think they care the slightest about this. Okay, they have their own Tamiyo. So I kind of got a little bit... Ooh, that's a good one. Maybe this is time for Katara. Okay, so Swamp Katara. I don't have Swamp, never mind. So now I have a couple of spells for my opponent's turn, and then depending on the situation, I might go to the Thoughtseize, depending on, yeah, the sense of urgency, I guess. Voidwalker. Okay, so we're looking at something like that. Shoot the Sheriff is a very good draw here. So maybe I'm supposed to go land, attack, no. So now I could Thoughtseize my opponent, which I probably should. And then shoot the Sheriff on my opponent's turn. Worth noting is I can't kill that card. Okay, so the opponent's super creature-centric here. So that got me really good. Could actually be in a lot of trouble here. So let's see. The Bowmaster I can kill with my Bowmaster. The Murktide I could kill with Shoot the Sheriff. Maybe I should take the Bowmaster because I want to proactively play mine. Okay, so the opponent's setup makes this super challenging. Pass. Should upkeep the Bowmasters, I feel like. Get an experience counter. I think they might... Okay, they're not going to do that. Okay, ping my opponent. Let's see what their plan is. I think their plan was to try and draw land. And then hopefully my play looks like I don't have an answer to Murktide, but I was too scared of Bowmasters and I banked on them not drawing a land. I think this works out quite nicely for me. Those guys getting in there. Yes. Days might be quite bad, actually. So let's see. Shoot the Sheriff onto the Murktide. So I guess, let's see. This is an attack trigger, right? So I should do it like this. Attack. Yes, draw. So I guess Murktide Regent is not going to do anything this game, huh? Let's discard Murk. Let's shoot the Sheriff. Let's, I guess, play around Bowmasters here. I really don't want my opponent to draw Kish Bowmasters. Maybe that card crushes me anyway. Thoughtseize. Let's put that away. Draw Mystical Dispute. So now I have 2 counters on Katara. I am doing fine in the race. Wasteland. That's fine. The opponent's bounce spell is a little bit annoying here. I'm basically hoping that they want to play a 3-1 to clock better. And that my days gets to connect. Also, I just looted with Katara, meaning if I have a daze there, there's a chance I get rid of it. Okay, so that gets bounced. And now the opponent's a little bit on the defense. So I like how the opponent's playing here. It's well played. Replay Katara. Attack, get in for 1. I'm currently losing the race here by quite a margin. I have what I believe to be 2 Brazen Borrowers and a Sheldritch Edict left in my deck for removal. Now there's a dynamic with Katara where the opponent is incentivized to play on my turn, which makes a card like Mystical Dispute slightly better in my deck. So if they wait, I get to dispute something. But if he does it now, then maybe Daze is live. I basically have to find my own Brazen Borrower for the Voidwalker before it's all said and done here. Let's see what this is. The opponent looks to move off Voidwalker to what? Shoot the Sheriff? Shoot the Sheriff onto Bowmasters. Wow. Okay. Voidwalker Crisis Averted. Clue Cracking. Land. Attack, and then flip the Tamiyo. Okay. So we have a game on our hands here, but my graveyard is back on. Opponent at 11, but they stop my aggression here. So at least I'm drawing an extra card. I'm digging towards Murktide, towards Brazen. That card is probably bad. So I can flip a Tamiyo here. Should I do that? I think I should play Tamiyo. Attack. Draw. Nice surgical. So let's see here. My opponent has a Tamiyo and 2 unknowns in hand. Let's just plus this before we forget. I feel like this turn cycle, I'm supposed to bounce the Tamiyo. But maybe it doesn't accomplish that much. What if I do it on my opponent's turn? Then all of a sudden Daze is live, but I get more experience counters. Am I greedy here? Could be a little greedy, I think. No, I think it's too much value with the Daze, to be honest. So what happens if I bounce that? The opponent could just replay. Maybe they can get right back to that same spot. Magic the Gathering is so hard. Okay, let's bounce that card. Let's Daze the Daze, bouncing the Duel I want to protect. Now the opponent has a land, Tamiyo, unknown in hand. Pass. So I have a Tamiyo, and I have a draw engine. I think that's what I'm supposed to focus on here. It looks like I am playing against the Doomsday Plan B, I think. Ooh, yeah, that clue, that was not a good play. Or, you know, it could have been the best play, but that's not impressive play, right? Here's Murktide Regent. And the thing is, I'm able to bring back Shoot the Sheriff, play land, Shoot the Sheriff, holding up Dispute. When it rains, it pours for the opponent. Attack for 2. I think my own mana base is more important. The opponent at 8. I have a Walker. I have a Draw Engine. We both have a Brazen in the exile. Let's see how the opponent follows up here. They follow up with a concession. Okay, so we successfully buried them here with Katara, the hedge sideboard plan of Not surgical. The hedge sideboard plan of Shoot the Sheriff ended up working nicely, except I faced Voidwalkers. So that's something you should keep an eye out on if you're playing any blue-black deck with, like, Shoot the Sheriff, Go for the Throat, Shelter's Edict. When do they shine? When do they fall short, right? All right, that was a pretty cool match one. Let's keep it up. All right, we're on the draw playing Dimir Katara, and this hand looks to be decent, right? We need to get out of the opening turns without mana problems, and then hopefully we can sculpt some good cards. Right now, we're hoping for the opponent to be a creature deck. The classic. When you have Fatal Push and Force Negation in your hand, you know that one of those cards are going to be bad. So I guess if my opponent's a creature deck, we love that. But if they're a combo deck, we also love that, I guess, with the negation. So let's see. Okay, milling over Wasteland. So we're most likely playing against Is It Tempo? I draw Thoughtseize that I don't think I'm allowed to cast. So let's pass the turn here. I'm hoping right now to Force to Negate a Cutter, Surveil into a land, play the game. Okay. Here's Brainstorm. That's totally fine. The opponent already got rid of a Wasteland, so that could be they already have Wasteland. That could be they are more interested in developing their own stuff. All right, here's Delver of Secrets. So I guess if I find a land here, I'm the champ. I don't find a land here, I'm not the champ. I guess if I find a land here, I'm the big champ. All right, so I think the move is to Bowmaster on my opponent's turn, and then use Force and Negation to protect. Orcage Bowmasters. The opponent might be smelling a little bit of blood in the water here. Why would I do that? Why will I not do it on my own turn? Okay. Bowmaster resolves, which is huge. That was step 1. Step 2 is to not get wasted. All right. Murktide Regent, that's pretty cool. So thankfully we have that covered with our beautiful removal Snuff Out. And I even draw land like an absolute master of the game. So how do I play Magic the Gathering? I think I play Magic by going land, Thoughtseize, Snuff Out, attack. Land, Thoughtseize. Nice hand, nice hand. I think I don't care the slightest about Force of Will. All right, I like my position a lot here. The negation could be a huge liability. Push has the next creature covered. Should I end step Brainstorm here? End step Brainstorm allows me to find land for Merc. Maybe that's fine. Can I find a land in the top 3? This is a little bit of a important one. I do find a land. One, two, three, 4, 5. Murktide Regent. The opponent doesn't like it. All right. The opponent mulliganed. My answers lined up perfectly with Bowmasters, Thoughtseize, Snuff Out, and then a Murktide. Yeah. That was just bread and butter. Bread and butter gaming. All right. Let's see if I have a good sideboard plan against blue-red. It looks like it, right? So Force of Will is bad. Force and Negation is bad. Daze is bad. These 9 cards are Chef's Kiss. And then I end up in a situation where I have to choose between a Thoughtseize and Fourth Wasteland. I think I like the Fourth Wasteland slightly better. I think on the play I would have a Daze in that spot. Yeah, this looks great. The explosive's a little bit weird. In a pinch, they can clean up some monks. If I'm lucky, I can sweep double 1-drop, but that's pretty situational because that's in a scenario where, well, I'm not dead yet, right? All right. One lander once more. This deck continues to be very mana hungry. If I play Tamiyo, I think my opponent will spend time killing it, and then I can spend my next turn drawing for a land. I think that's okay. It's a little bit annoying because, in theory, I could have end-stepped Consider and then had more looks to get into the game with Brainstorm. Okay, I'm not super happy. When it attacks, I expect it to get bolted, I must say. That's the whole point of this play, is to slow the opponent down a little bit. Pyroblast. Wait a minute. They flip with Lightning Bolt, but now they Pyroblast. Oh, this is because of Bowmasters. Okay, perfect. This is because of the fact that I'm an Orcish Bowmaster deck. Okay, that is atrocious. Now, let's cast a Brainstorm. We do get the land, so we get to play Magic. That's always a big, big advantage. I actually think Katara is not that great here. What else? Katara is not that great. I want to hold up Hydro. Is it a land, maybe? Maybe I want these lands. Maybe I want to play around the first Wasteland. But I can do that with Swamp, I guess. What if I put back land Katara? Then I consider away the Katara, draw the land. I think that's okay. So I play like this. Still hold up the Hydro. If I get wasted, I consider. Take one more damage. Then I Edict. This could get a little bit iffy because I need to kill this Delver. And if I do that with Edict, I'm softer to future Murktide. But I think this has to be done. Also, I think if I play like this, I'm likely to clear my opponent's days before slamming the Baraggoyf. But I have to be, you know, I have to think about time. Okay, so now the opponent can actually Murktide. Now they see the Katara. Should I have responded there? With Consider? I think that would actually have been a good play. Because in theory now, if I get dazed, but now, no. I shouldn't worry about daze. So I get rid of that card. The opponent draws that card. The opponent has Lightning Bolt in hand. I feel like this turn is the Edict turn. Murktide Regent, a good draw. Let's see. They pondered, so they know about this card. They drew one right away, one from Bauble. They're trying to draw the second one, which I should probably let them do, and then Edict the Delver, trying to play around Daze. And if they fight here, I play around Cutter, you know, triggering the second time. How many? So I'm working with 3 spells in the graveyard, and so does my opponent, but my opponent's on a Holy Heat deck. What I'm trying to say is, if my opponent develops a 6/6 Merc, I will insta Brainstorm here. Another Delver of Secrets, Bolt and 2 unknowns. Okay, this is decent for me. I think I should try and slam Baraggoyf. Snuff Out, I think, is a good card. Let's keep that. I will Hydro on Holy Heat. I will Hydro the second Bolt and accept my fate against the Daze. The opponent untaps. Flips with Unholy Heat. Okay. Great draw. So I end up playing around Daze for a million turns for then to just lose to Daze later. That's a little bit annoying, I must say. But I don't think I can not fight here. Yeah, not ideal, not ideal. Baragov down. The opponent's hand is Bolt, Land, Unknown, I guess. Let's see. My plan is here that hopefully I've ran them out of threats. The opponent mills a land and passes. So I've successfully ran my opponent out of threats here. Let's see. Is there a way for me to put on the pressure? I think this brainstorm is good because if I find a second threat, I really like my position. I don't find a second threat. Consider as a way to clear one of these cards. So maybe that's supposed to be the land. So I know I'm not getting Dazed. The opponent's hand is Bolt and one Unknown, and they're drawing a random card. So the most likely card the opponent has right now is Pyroblast. Is there a way for me to have... Yeah, so if I do like this, let's see. Put back land, put back Consider. Play Wasteland. Play Murktide. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hydroblast or Edict. What's the most clutch one that I can bring back? I think it's like this. So I must say, I think my opponent's last card is a Pyroblast, but I also think there's nothing I can really do about that. I'm supposed to play this card out and try and capitalize the times where it's not. All right. We trade for the Pyro. The opponent has a Bolt. They draw a random card. Here's a Brainstorm. I'm drawing Consider, milling a bad card, and then drawing a freshie. Brazen Borrower. I have the bounce open in case the opponent has a Murktide at the end of the rainbow here. They keep the card. Okay. All right. Consider away the land. Draw another land. And now, who is Wasteland an advantage for? I think it's an advantage. I think I should do it like this. I'm not going to play the land. I don't think there's any world I'm playing out a 3-1, so I'd rather keep the land in hand for future Brainstorm equity. Here's Murktide Regent. And I suspect my opponent has found another Pyro. That's not something we can worry about, though. Let's Brazen End of turn, the 8-8. The opponent has 3 spells left, so Murktide is still a giant threat. Atrocious draw here. Okay. So it looks like we're losing this game. Unless I get quite lucky. Let's see. 1, 2. Yeah, I don't have enough to match my opponent's Murktide here with a 6-6. They're 6-6. Right? 1, 2. Yeah, I think I'm 1 off. I have to play Brazen Borrower. Katara is very bad here with no spell. It's essentially the downside of the card, right? When you draw it in a low resource scenario, it doesn't do anything. So now the opponent can go 2 different routes. One is clear the Brazen, one is forced to chump block. They don't give me that chance, and I'm down to 3. All right. The opponent made minced meat out of me there. So let's see. Thoughtseize could be a little bit of a liability. I don't mind a couple of dazes in my deck here, to be honest. Couple of dazes. Maybe this card is too ambitious and I'm just supposed to have daze. Okay, we can try that. I'll try 3 dazes here. Oof, that unholy heap the opponent flipped the Delver with was brutal. Alright, turn 1 Tamiyo. Turn 2 Tamiyo, maybe. Tamiyo is a little bit weird because it's a Pyroblast matchup, so flip Tamiyo is less interesting than normal. Let's see if the opponent smells blood here. Okay, they let us have the Tamiyo, which is kind of cool. Snuff Out is great here. Okay, so I think what I'll do now is play Katara, Snuff Out on the opponent's, I guess, draw step? I think that's okay. Here's Snuff Out. Here's Brainstorm. So the opponent is looking for daze. The opponent could also be looking for... No, they're not looking for land, I guess, since they mill over the land. So let's see. That happened. So now I'm basically trying to put my opponent in a place where they have to kill the Katara, which they will. Wow, they won't. Okay. Interesting. Okay, so I guess I really have to play against Murktide Regent here. Let's see. Investigate. Yes. Yes, please. Draw. I mean, Tamiyo looks absolutely abysmal here. I think my move now is... Oh, this is tough. If I crack a clue, my Tamiyo flips, which is good, because that can bring back Snuff Out, which handles Murktide Regent. If I cast Brainstorm, I hit a land. I get to also slam a Bowmaster and crack a clue. But this card can, in theory, also get countered. I don't think I would mind that, though. Okay. Let's cast a Brainstorm. I expect this to resolve, I must say. I don't like this pause. Okay, it resolves. This is pretty good. So, I don't think I need more Tamiyo, and I can get rid of a land. Tamiyo flipping. Now I'm basically trying to keep my opponent super busy, because if I have Katara drawing away, active Tamiyo Walker, I think that's the way to do it. So what I'm going to do here is pass Bowmaster on upkeep. My opponent dazes me here. It's not really a big deal. They churn cantrips here. It's mildly annoying for them. Essentially, I'm trying to get my opponent into a spot of too much to deal with. Because now Katara is, you know, insane, right? Draw 2, discard 1 is incredible. Tamiyo brings back Snuff Out. I already have the Brazen. So this to me is like Murktide Regent with the way they've been playing all game. And now they need... No, it's not. They start killing stuff. Here's maybe Pyroblast. No Pyroblast. No Pyro. I really want to bring back the Snuff out here. How crazy is that? I think that's good. Let's bring back the Snuff out before anything weird happens. Let's try and attack. I will Wasteland before we exit combat here. Again, I'm trying to stress their mana as much as I absolutely can here. I guess I missed out on Murktide size here. Yeah. So how could I have done that? I think if I Wasteland... The thing is, if I Wasteland my opponent there proactively and they randomly have a Pyro for the Tameo, I look like a fool, but maybe I should have given my opponent more credit. Magic is a hard game. I didn't give my opponent enough credit there, so I made like a dummy play, which in turn makes my Murktide one smaller. So yeah, that was not a good play. I'm trying to make my opponent the control deck, essentially. They know about Snuff Out. Chameo's there. Bowmaster's making things annoying. Murktide, yeah. This was just a very, very cool game where the 0-mana Snuff Out really was just everything I wanted, right? Kill the early guy, have Murktide coverage, grind into a spot where my engine cards are must kill. I just had too much, you know, for the opponent to worry about this game. That was super sweet. There's a little bit about how to balance the experience counter benefits on Katara and actually playing worse against Brainstorm, Daze, stuff like that, but I'm trying to figure it out over here. I hope you can bear with me. All right, let's play one more. All right, this is not round 3. This is round 4. Round 3, I played against Death and Taxes, lost game 1, then realized I didn't record, so I just conceded the match and moved on to this one. So I will say Death and Taxes is probably one of the worst pairings you can run into, and forgetting to press the record button, yeah, you didn't get to see that. But you get to see this one. Well, this hand is pretty awesome, right? I get to ask questions, and if Snuff Out is live against my opponent's deck, this hand is awesome. Turn 1 Tameo, I'm trying to think about, do I even care about getting Wastelanded? I don't think I care about getting Wastelanded. Would I want to get Wastelanded? Yeah, I guess I will. I guess Island Tameo leaves my opponent with fewer, you know, less info about my deck. Let's see what we're up against this round. I would love for that Snuff Out to be live. I mean, Basic Swamp is not exactly the best start for that. Duress. Okay, so we're up against a combo deck. Duress. Taking Brainstorm. Yeah, great call. Scalding Tarn. I think I'm supposed to play Katara and capitalize on the draws where my opponent doesn't just straight up kill me turn 2. And then I'm going to use Clues and Surveil to hopefully get into a game that I can win. If I'm just dying turn 2 here, I think the random draw of Clue is not going to move the needle. Wishclaw Talisman. Okay. That card is very, very good. Here's a consider. So now, if I want to, I can flip my Tameo. I'm not sure that's going to be all that potent. No. I think because I play Thoughtseize, I want to consider now. And then I can crack a clue, I guess. Okay. Let's try and cast Consider. Love the Brainstorm. Now let's Brainstorm. Flipping the Tameo is not that relevant, but these are just so bad. So I guess Snuff Out and Land can go. Flip this one. Yeah, I don't see myself having a lot of chance here, I must say. Should I play out another Tameo? Or should I be ready to surveil? I guess I'll be ready to surveil. Terrible situation here. My deck, let's see. I'm using 6 forces, 3 days, 2 thoughts, 3 thought seizes. With a little bit of help out of the sideboard. Yeah, I guess I just drew the wrong side of the deck. So here's Wishclaw either finding gas or protection. And then I'll be buried. I guess I'll just learn a little bit more about my opponent's deck before sideboarding. The opponent passing the turn here is a little bit weird. Maybe this is my chance. Thing is, I think I need to get to like double force to have a chance. That is not a force of will. Here's Consider, so I guess I attack and push the token. A little bit annoying to use my resources on, but I think I have to. Kill a 5/5. Click no. Return Brainstorm. And again, I have to do stuff on my own turn because I play Thoughtseize in my deck. Very nice. Very nice. So now I guess I put back Tameo Land. Let's Thoughtseize to see if there's an action card or a protection spell. Unfortunately, there's a little bit of both. So Burning Wish. Burning Wish. I think I'm supposed to take Burning Wish here. Wait a minute. Burning Wish is for the right now uncastable. What if the opponent goes for red mana, on the Saga? Okay, I think I have to force them to do something along those lines. This is problematic. Because the opponent's hand was redundant. In a perfect world, I wanted to snag Disruption with my Thoughtseize, and then they tutor into protection. The other way around. Tutor into gas, and I beat them. So right now, I basically want my opponent to think I have Snuff Out left in hand. Because they saw it earlier. They do go for red mana here. Let's see what the Burning Wish can go and get. No response here. Problem is they're going to go and fetch a discard spell and then kill me with action out of the deck. I can only win if they... Oh, wow. They go for Cabal Therapy. So if they name Force Negation here, that would be awesome. They name Force of Will. Yeah, this is getting weird. So the opponent's hand is Beseech Dimir that they can't cast. No, it's not. It's one unknown we don't know about. Yeah, this game, if they have a storm, it's Tendrils, right? Yeah, it's Tendrils. Okay. This is super weird. So we get to live. I will cast some stuff here and assume to get more blue cards, right? I think getting this going is going to be good. Then I up the Tameo. So what is this? Is this Adnos? Ooh, the opponent's Adnosing here. That's very cool. I didn't think about that. Okay, joke's on me here. Adnos getting resolved. Very, very cool. But I now have the Talisman. What can I do with that? Okay. My opponent is going to shred my hand here. They have probably won this game. It's funny. When I saw the Wishclaw getting played, I thought about mentioning that they can, like, you know, upkeep or whatever. But I didn't think about the end step here. That kind of crushes me. Well, now yeah, I mean, I'm just losing the game now. I don't think I can do anything. Because the opponent has... This is really funny. Yeah, nice experience counter, buddy. Yeah, I didn't play well here. If I play around that, I untap, I have some clues. I'm trying to bolster. Plus Tameo. I'm trying to get lucky and find the next force plus blue card. So it's not like I'm in a great spot, but it's better than being dead, right? Let's see what they discard here. They're at 6 life. They're gonna attack down to 5. Yeah, unfortunately, I think I botched this one. Great move by the opponent. I'm just gonna wait here and see what they discard and try and make sense of their hand. The thing is, now they have so much discard. I think they have double duress. Double duress, pretty darn strong here. All right. The opponent discarded Canny Trail, Opal, Petal, 2 Thoughtseize, Infernal Tutor, Delta, Ursa Saga. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So they... What about the last card? Chrome? So my opponent's hand is this. They will discard me twice, then try and win. That is a problem. I'm not gonna lie. They're gonna discard me twice. And then trying to win. I guess I will draw... So maybe... Draw Bowmasters, sure. Oh, wait a minute. They also have Tendrils. No, they don't have Tendrils. Tendrils in the yard. Do I have a way to get rid of Tendrils? Let me just quickly go and check the deck list. I don't have a way to get rid of Tendrils. So there's not even that. Tutor? The opponent duresses me twice. Then what? Is it a brainstorm? If I tutor for brainstorm, is that it? I think that's it. Tutor for brainstorm so that I can clue into the brainstorm. Let's see. Let's see. Cast brainstorm. In response. Hide. Draw into a couple of blue. Yeah, I need to be so lucky here. I don't think this land will matter. Let's understand this. If I draw into 3 blue cards, I need to put back negation in one of those. Brainstorm clue. Yeah, that land is not going to help me here. Because I have to brainstorm clue to win this game. That's 3 mana. So playing an extra land to get to 4 is less important. So it's better to have brainstorm flexibility, essentially. Here's brainstorm. So I think I need to hit 3 blue cards here. That's close. But I think Murktide being duress proof actually helps as well. Let's see. Put back land and negation. Or put back negation, I guess. Okay. Put back negation. The opponent seized his hand. No duress target. Tendrils in the yard. That card is gone. Blindside Diamond. Sure. Sure. Okay. So I think I'm dead now. Because the opponent has 2 layers of Beseeching and Wishclaw. Yes. I think at least. It's too hard to keep track of. So Beseech Dimir with Bargain. Cracking. Clue. So here's the Veil, I guess. Yeah, the opponent just played so nicely this game. I mean, I made a costly error that made the game impossible to win, and my opponent just played super well. Like you have to just acknowledge that, right? Here's Wishclaw into another Beseech, which will find the Gaia's Will, which will kill me. So beautifully executed. Yeah, the opponent got me good here. Played well from start to finish, and take down game 1 here. Sometimes when you make a bad move, like cast that Consider, all you can do is like Wishclaw for the Brainstorm, hope for the best. That's also cool, right? The opponent is showing off a little bit here. Tendrils will, yeah, duress me, buddy. All right. Down a game versus Storm. A little bit scared about that matchup, I must say. Okay, so which bad cards do I have? I have a lot of bad cards. All of my black cards except Thoughtseize are bad, so -9. Boom. Boom. Maybe. 2 Surgicals, 2 Hydros. Hydros countering Burning Wish. They might play the Spider-Man card. All of these cards are very bad, so yeah, let's try and register this version. All right, this looks like a fine hand. Turn 1 Thoughtseize to not get killed. And then I can think about my urgency for turn 2. Essentially, you want to get your opponent in a pinch where going for it is inevitable and you punish them with the force. This hand will need a little bit of time to get to that spot. But hopefully Thoughtseizing a 5-card hand is powerful. All right, the opponent has 1,000,000 discard spells. I think that's fine. I don't mind that. Let's see. The opponent's super low resourced. Taking ad nauseum seems a little bit bad, though. Maybe I should just take the duress and understand that ad naus is coming. All right, take the duress. They Thoughtseize a very, very redundant hand. And I have to think about the ad nauseum at some point. Hopefully it's going to be complicated to get to 5 mana. Taking the consider here. Okay. I draw Force of Will. That's not bad. Except it's just going to get Thoughtseized, I guess. Let's see. I think I'm supposed to play Tamiyo here. Katara is just very bad in with the texture of my hand here. Here's another Thoughtseize. The opponent gets a good timing here, taking the force. Pedal. Consign. What do I do here? I think I crack a clue, but maybe I wait. What if I have a land on top? If I have a land on top, I can fetch a Surveil. Okay. Three cards. Adnos and 2 other ones. Thoughtseize. Yeah. Take the consign. Then I Surveil. So it's kind of my job to finish while the opponent is down a little bit here. Thoughtseize, decent. Katara doesn't look great here, I must say. Maybe I'm supposed to crack a clue. Cast Thoughtseize, Adnos, or Infernal Tutor. So Infernal Tutor requires the opponent to go all in, essentially. But I guess so does Ad Nauseam in this situation. So what if the opponent draws LED? What can it do with 3 mana? I think they're closer to making Infernal Tutor good than Adnos. Okay, well, this game could be over if the opponent just draws like Mana Source Dark Ritual. Okay, that's a good one. Is Will. 3rd Katara. Very bad. I think what I should do now is play 1 Katara and then use the Hydro to get going. This is a little bit scary. Drawing a bunch of the same legends. Not ideal. All right, I have an experience counter. I draw Brainstorm. Attack. Yes. Get rid of a Katara. I guess flip the Tamiyo. Pass. Take a better look here. It goes down to 2 now, I believe. The opponent might try and like duress me ahead of schedule. I think that's all right. Let's get an experience counter. These are good. Put back some. Yeah, okay, fair enough. The opponent realized they were getting buried here. Yeah, I was very lucky. My opponent was on a multi-5 and didn't do anything. My draw was very, very clunky. So I guess what do I put back here? Cards I'm going to see anyway, right? Draw 2, discard 1, bring back Force of Will, slam Murktide. Yeah, we were in the driver's seat here. So we didn't learn anything from the opponent's sideboarding. I will just wait a little bit here for good measure. I did forget briefly about the surgical extraction. That could be good against some low-resourced Gaia's Will, but most likely they're just going to have too much stuff going on out there. So the card is really not good. Yeah, Katara doesn't look great here because the only stuff I'm doing on my opponent's turn that is not, you know, forcing. And the thing is, if I succeed with the force, that means the opponent invested rituals and stuff. So that's already a good scenario. So the only like smooth Katara enablers are the, I guess, the cantrips. But maybe you can even count stuff like hydros and surgicals and dazes getting cast into the abyss. Maybe that counts as well. That deck is pretty hard to play against because it frequently kills you on turn 2 and frequently discards you 3 times before going for it. So a lot of hands like this double force hand, I mean, it's good, right? But, you know, it could be picked apart. I love that I have the Wasteland. So no castable spells here, but I have the Wasteland, so I'm not weak against Urza Saga. I think that's huge. The dream is the opponent starts going for it, but that's not going to happen. Thoughtseize resolves. Fetching bad lands here, what does that tell me? I think that tells me they have Burning Wish. So if I Wasteland that, I could lose to Urza Saga in a, let's say, longer game. I let that card resolve. I don't think that card is what makes the difference. Tamiyo, yeah, I think this is correct. Let's see if I'm right. Now I'm bad against like Urza Saga and some artifacts. I think I'm happy with that. I need to buy time here. The Opal is on. Urza Saga would be the punishment. Okay. Gaia's Will suspended. Island? Basic Swamp. A terrible magic card. Could help me later on crack some clues, etc. But for now, really bad. Land? No land, but we draw a force, which is pretty good. I keep being super bad against Urza Saga. I'm kind of hoping that there's motivation for the opponent to start casting stuff with Gaia's Will coming up. They know about the one force. Vault of Whispers. I'll take it. I will take it. So right now my opponent's trying to set up a good turn. They're trying to next turn discard me. So what if I force that card? What if I force that card? I can't force that card. Okay. I guess drawing Thoughtseize here would be the absolute best draw. I will take a blue land any day of the week. Cabal Therapy. So Cabal Therapy is a must counter, but it costs the opponent 1 more mana. So it might cost me a cleanup step, but that's kind of the game we're playing here. I will discard Murktide Regent. Yeah, this is not ideal. My hand had Double Force Wasteland. What can you do? So my opponent has a good turn lined up now where they get to go cast Cabal Therapy to clear the way, and then if they have action now and can replay it all with Gaia's Will, like that's the dream. They set up a perfect way to punish me here. So let's see. If I draw land, Consign has Gaia's Will covered, I think. I think that's how it works. I, in fact, draw a land here. Well, I guess we have some kind of game on our hands. Should I replicate that Consign? So let's see how this works. Well, that doesn't teach me how it works. I think there's one more trigger. Wait a minute. The opponent's trying to... Okay. So now I get to Consign. The opponent discards the whole hand. Yep. No Yogg Will for you. They'd get to take a draw step. Yeah, I'm not sure about this. I can see my opponent's hand didn't have anything going on. They tried to call the presumed bluff here when I forced a therapy that I was protecting, like nothing to do here. I got lucky and found a second force without being discarded in the meantime. I had the Consign at the ready and drew the land on my turn 5, I think. Yeah, so, I mean, is that lucky? Is that unlucky? Who knows? We got to do a very unclean sweep here. I failed to record the full match against Death and Taxes, where I got severely cooked game 1. I think the matchup was very hard, so please don't overreact or anything. But I do think this deck has a lot of potential. I think Katara is sweet. I love the innovation of Snuff Out and the main deck negations. So if the format slows down a little bit and you need like all your your engine cards, like full amount of Tamiyo, full Katara, then who knows? The deck might be viable. All right, we are at the end of the video. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. It's a true pleasure to press record when I remember it, and yeah, upload some sweet matches for you guys. Keep having fun with Legacy, and I'll do the same. And I'll see you back on the channel soon. Thanks for watching.